Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Rural Contractors. I'm your host, Paul Osmondson, and today's topic is time under tension. Time under tension, what does that mean? I want you to think about who's in your space. So me, I lived in small town, northeast Iowa, and I was doing everything. Roofing, siding, whatever jobs came in. An older carpenter that I've worked with a lot in the past, I wanted to do sheds just for the factor of there's a whole lot less decisions that the customers have to make and relay it on to me, but there's also a lot of emotion that's removed from it. I was building a house for a couple and it just ruined it for me. I was young, it wasn't my company, I was running the crew, but they were worried about things that weren't even issues. I just took on a whole bunch of stress from that issue and I was just done with building houses. In that, it really brought me to wanting to build sheds. And this older gentleman named John told me, you either got to pick. You either got to do houses or you got to do sheds. But which one are you going to do? Because I was really thinking, hey, I just want to do new construction. Stick frame is stick frame, whether it's a house, a garage, a shed. And then we do post frames, sheds as well. But John said, hey, you got to pick. At the time, the subcontractors were working with me, and one of them, his long-term goal, he wanted to be a house builder. And there's something that comes to that, but it really wasn't mine. So picking sheds. But this time under tension. So in small town, rural, northeast Iowa, there's not many people that just do sheds. You got Morton, you got Cleary. Literally, we're an hour from any of those companies. So they really weren't a huge competition. So this time under tension, if I can build a business to the point where I'm staying in this space, if I'm in this space for 5 or 10 years, what type of reputation can I build in that time? Where you're known as the service that you provide. But where you can really stand out if you're in competition with these bigger businesses is the people that they're dealing with are not the owners, because those companies they're so big that the owners aren't the guys getting on the phone with them, aren't the guys meeting with them, they aren't their salespeople. I feel like those companies lose that source of relationship. And I think there is something different between the person that is owning the business, just that local community aspect of, hey, you're a real person. Your level of communication can be better than salespeople. So this is me. I was wanting to build a hay shed. I was building sheds at this point, but I went to FBI buildings and on their website, and boy, I had the hardest time getting a hold of them. Like, I went on their website, built out their thing. Their thing is fancier than mine. It was a lot more complicated to get all that stuff, but I tried calling them. I got a hold of a secretary. They tried calling me. They left me a message. And their follow-up process was less than mine. So in this, you can figure out a way to communicate more directly. You can basically outwork your competition. You have so many people in your area. So this idea of time under tension, when you spend enough time in that area of what you're working on, you have the ability for all the work you can do. If you're willing to stay in that space, so many people get bored and they're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Look at how many contractors are in your area that have done it for more than 20 years. If there are any of them, most of those guys are going to be one-man crews that have worked for themselves for a long period of time. Is there opportunity to build in that? But also what I used to look at was a lot of these guys that I grew up learning from were in their 60s. And I was 30. I was like, these guys aren't going to do it for that many more years. And obviously they were slowing down in that. I helped these guys. This is how I got started. I helped those guys build whatever they were building. If they needed an extra hand on truss day, my crew was there. Boom, we show up with 4 guys. We set all the trusses. We help them as long as they need. But as these guys started to retire, they're just referring customers straight to me. That is great leads. They're basically a shoe-in because their carpenter that they've trusted for years are just saying, talk to this guy. And especially when you work on that niche like we've talked about lots of times, is you can take those directions in from multiple people. But then also giving those other opportunities that you don't want, siding, roofing. Figure out those guys in your area and send them to them. So time under tension, if you're willing to spend enough time speaking your message to the marketplace, making the connections, you can make an amazing business over time. But being willing to step into that area, work it for a long term, and basically you're outworking your competition to outlast, say, hey, we're gonna make sure we get enough work coming in to support my family, to support my team members, and that consistency. Look at the statistics around you. How many people in your local area are creating a business, and how long has that business been established? And to what quality service? Do they still offer what they did before? Looking at that and creating that space, even as there's new people come into your area. So in this, we're outworking our competition with our communication skills. When you can have those direct lines of communications of this is what I'm going to do and this is how we're going to do it, and you follow through with what you say you're doing, you blow the other people out of the water. So, time under tension. I hope this episode was valuable. We'll catch you on the next one.